And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Welcome to Alaska Weather. I'm meteorologist Peter Chan, coming to you from the National Weather Service on this Tuesday, November 21st, 2023. And if you'd like additional weather information on top of this YouTube video, you can go to weather.gov. That is the National Weather Service's online presence. You come to a map here on the web page of the continental U.S. with Hawaii, Alaska to the lower left, and the U.S. territories, these little click tabs on the bottom. And if you point and click anywhere on this map, it'll bring up a local forecast with any relevant watches, warnings, or advisories. Of note, looking at the map here, for the lower 48 on this Tuesday afternoon, we have winter weather advisories in effect out here for portions of the Northeast, upstate New York into northern New England. Back here to the west, colder air is dropping in from the north and west, and as a result, we have winter storm watches and winter weather advisories for portions of Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, there across the northern Rockies, and that's going to be slipping southward, especially into Colorado, as we get toward the Thanksgiving holiday. And here in Alaska, though, sadly, I have to report we had a major landslide south of Wrangell on Monday evening prior to 9 p.m., causing at least one fatality, and several people are still missing. Search and rescue efforts are underway at this time. And I'll show you an image of that landslide here in just a second. But we do have moist and milder air coming in along a frontal system that'll push up into the Gulf Coast on Thanksgiving Day. And this is going to bring coastal rains, some mountain snows, and possibly a wintry mix of precipitation for areas a little further up in elevation or coming up along areas of, say, Cook Inlet into Anchorage Bowl and into Prince William Sound as we go through Wednesday, Thursday, into Friday. But overall, we are expecting temperatures to average above normal with above normal precipitation across much of the state, especially the mainland and centered on the southern half of the mainland into early December. So we certainly will stay in a somewhat active weather pattern. But here is an image provided by Alaska Public Media, Sunrise Aviation, of the slide there, 11 miles south of Wrangell, that happened Monday evening prior to 9 p.m. You can see this slide started along the hillside here and went all the way down into the bay. And as a result, at least 2, maybe 3 homes were completely destroyed and swept away. We still, like I said, are awaiting the results of the search and rescue efforts. But certainly that there were other landslides in parts of the Panhandle down there in the southeast, at least a few others, but nothing as impactful as that. Fortunately, conditions have improved across the Panhandle. The heavy snows have let up. Areas around Angoon and Hoonah had 2 feet of snow. And looking here at Point Hope up along the northwest coast, it's been breezy there. You have a few thin clouds, but otherwise temperature at 25 degrees, not especially cold. And in Hoonah, there in the Panhandle, there was a burst of heavy wet snow yesterday. Hoonah on up through Angoon and the Haines area, some spots got as much as 2 feet of heavy wet snow that also resulted in some scattered power outages with the weight of that snow on tree limbs, plus the gusty winds. But as of this afternoon, temperatures have actually moderated close to 40 degrees there with a little bit of light rain on top of that snow helping to settle it. And a lot of times, too, just a little change in elevation or just around a certain area, and you can have a difference between some snow to blizzard conditions, as was the case around Juneau yesterday afternoon and early evening. Now, as far as any remaining watch warnings or advisories, we have a winter weather advisory for some blowing snow along the Dalton Highway, Gobbler's Knob, until 9 p.m. This Tuesday evening. Otherwise, things fairly quiet now statewide compared to the past day or two. And we don't anticipate anything coming up immediately here, but we'll keep an eye on things. Here's the remnants of the low, the powerful low that impacted the Panhandle yesterday, and that low is beginning to weaken, and it's going to just kind of wash out and become a trough along the northern Gulf Coast as we head into tomorrow. And then the next system we're watching is a low that's in the North Pacific approaching the Aleutians, and that low will become the next dominant system. So as we look at the weather map, here's low pressure this afternoon out in the Gulf, just a 996 millibar low. Breezy conditions, but nothing like the storm force winds with gusts. They were gusts up around 70 miles an hour in the Panhandle. yesterday as that frontal system pushed inland. Still a big area of high pressure here in northwest Canada with ridging extending into the Yukon Valley, but not as strong as it was the other day. And of course, the areas around the Matanuska Valley had the ground blizzard conditions on Tuesday, including around Willow and Palmer with winds gusting just over 70 miles an hour, also causing quite a few power outages. But things have improved across here in the southern mainland and Panhandle. Here comes the next low. Late tonight into early Wednesday morning, we have a low just below 950 millibars in the North Pacific with a frontal system extending east of there. And as we go into Wednesday afternoon, that low will be approaching the eastern Aleutians with this long front extending out and approaching the lower Gulf. There is going to be a flow, a southerly flow of a little milder and moist air that's going to run up here along the Gulf Coast. So that's going to introduce a variety of precipitation, coastal rains, but mountain snows as you get up in elevation, and then some areas that are kind of in between in elevation there. We could see a mixed bag of precipitation coming up areas of the Cook Inlet and into Prince William Sound. So we'll keep a close eye on that as we go into the busy Thanksgiving holiday. A lot of people trying to travel to meet up with friends and family. Thursday afternoon, Thanksgiving Day, we find the trough just kind of lagging here across areas of the northern Gulf Coast. There will be a focus for some precipitation to occur with the low center still hanging back toward the eastern Aleutians, though not quite as deep, coming up toward 970 millibars. Weak high pressure in the far north. So looking at temperatures, Wednesday morning lows, we're anticipating temperatures to get down, generally above freezing central southern Panhandle, near freezing in the north up there around Skagway and Haines. As we go further east, 5 below there at Gulkana in the northern Copper River Basin with any sort of clearing that occurs there, and farther north, dipping to near 20 at Anchorage. And then Wednesday afternoon temperatures still below freezing across the southern interior. But as you get out toward the coast, readings are generally around 40 degrees, including mid-40s here down along outer areas of the Panhandle that include Sitka down through Craig and Klawak, and 43 at Kodiak City. Thursday morning lows creeping upwards with the cloud cover and slightly moist, milder air coming in along that front. And then we see temperatures generally above freezing in the Panhandle, and notice temperatures along the coast generally will be in the lower to maybe middle 40s, with temperatures rising a bit above freezing even up through the Anchorage Bowl. Depending on how some of the moisture might curl back in or come up the inlet, there could also be kind of a mix of some rain and snow or a very brief period of freezing rain. One of the issues is it's been so cold here in areas of the Mat-Su Valley and Anchorage Bowl that even if the temperature gets above freezing and we get a little bit of rain, it instantly freezes on that cold surface. So we could be looking at some slippery driveways and parking lots and roads and that. So just keep that in mind. Temperatures will be colder across the central northern interior Wednesday morning with some clearer skies than recent days. Temperatures in through the upper Yukon Valley, Yukon Flats, highs staying just below zero. Teens along the Arctic coast, maybe lower 20s, Wales down toward Nome. And then lows again Thursday morning, a bit colder here on out toward the Yukon Flats. Some areas will be below 10 below. And a lot of single digits. And then temperatures Thursday afternoon for Thanksgiving. A little downslope may get places like Healy, Nenana up around or just above 30, 21 at Fairbanks. And as we go further to the west, readings generally staying in the teens, lower teens for highs. Now across areas of the southwest, chilly, could be below zero at McGrath, single digits elsewhere at Anvik and Bethel. And as we go down along the Alaska Peninsula into the Aleutians, lower 40s. Temperatures Wednesday afternoon, could see a 50-degree reading there around Dutch Harbor. Temperatures generally 20s to near 30, still a bit below freezing southwest interior. Thursday morning, temperatures with that frontal system may bump up a little bit here down through the eastern Aleutians and the lower portion of the Alaska Peninsula. And then Thursday afternoon on Thanksgiving Day, I wouldn't be surprised to see some 50-degree readings, at least some readings approaching 50 there along the Alaska Peninsula on the Pacific side. Looking at the extended temperature outlook, this is going to take us through the end of November into the beginning first day of December. The 6 to 10 day temperature outlook is calling for temperatures to average above normal, with the greatest likelihood here across the interior, middle, upper Yukon Valley, including Fairbanks and along the Alaska Range, but much of the state is anticipating the forecast there for above normal temperatures. And keeping in mind the time of year, above normal temperatures, it doesn't mean warm, it just means there's a potential for the air to have more moisture with it, and as a result, if we continue to see southerly feeds and moisture coming in off the Gulf, that could increase the likelihood of above normal precipitation across a good portion of the mainland, especially centered on the middle Yukon, down across the Alaska Range, Matsu Valley in through the northern Kenai, including the Anchorage Bowl. So that could mean a variety of things. It could mean additional snowfall, especially inland where it's colder. Areas that are closer toward the coast, maybe a greater threat of a mixture of precipitation. So again, stay tuned, as any weather system that comes into this kind of scenario could be lending toward a little more active weather period.